Welcome to the Best Kept Secrets podcast, where we share our best kept secrets about life, love, God, and everything in between. Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Best Kept Secrets podcast. If you haven't yet, go watch part 1, where we have been sharing lessons and things we have learned in our singleness journeys and seasons. So welcome to part 2. As you can already tell, we like to talk. tukaongea and we're just like, you know what, part 1 is not enough. One part is not enough. We need to do another one. So I'll just start us off because I think it was my turn when we left off. And one of the lessons I learned in my singleness is that there is love outside of romantic relationships. That sounds very simple when you say it.
Yeah.
But I did not believe it for a really long time. I was like, yeah, I mean, I know I love my parents. I know I love my family. I know I love my friends. But I never really felt that level of intimacy that romantic relationships can also bring. And I think when I had this realization was my birthday in 2022, actually, just last year, 2022. So I was surrounded by so much love. And usually birthdays, because I was born on Valentine's.
Really?
So, yes,
Yeah.
I was.
Wow.
So for me, birthdays are like, yeah, if I don't have a person, then it feels weird. It feels like, yeah, I mean, even all my friends and family are with their peoples because it's Valentine's, right? So usually I would try by force. I'd even like just force a kafling so that I'm not alone on my birthday,
wow,
so that I
yeah.
have like a romantic thing happening. But then last year, because in 2022 is when I was really intentional about being single and being intentionally single, I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to be with someone. I'm actually going to be alone on this birthday. So I had like a whole lunch thing with my friends and my family, and I was surrounded by so much love. And I was like, you know what? There is love outside of romantic relationships, you know? And even now that I'm in a relationship, I do my best to still nurture those friendships, those my family relationships as well, because I was one of those people who, when I'm in a relationship, that's just where all my effort and energy and everything goes into. You get whatever scraps I have left of love, you know? And then now I'm just like, no, I need to see this friend. I need to hang out with this person. I need to call this person. And I can't just be pouring into my romantic relationships and not nurturing my other relationships, because there's love in those relationships. Also, I keep saying this with my friends. There's something about female friendships that you cannot get in a relationship with a man.
God, yeah.
There's I don't know what it is. It's like the sisterhood. It's just the the support.
Yeah.
I don't know. There are things I can tell my female friends and they get it, or things that I go through and they get it that my partner can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that there is love outside of romantic relationships. Yeah.
Absolutely. And fun, maybe me, I'm a bit of a weirdo in that. So I have abundant beliefs about love. I feel like I have so much love in my life. Everywhere I go, I'm going to meet love. Like when I go to places, I'm going to find people who I love. But I have limiting beliefs when it comes to romantic relationships. And for a long time, I thought those two were the same thing. So even when I was doing affirmations, I would do affirmations about love. But now, or like maybe recently, I've been able to see a separation. I mean, recently, like 2-3 years ago, I was able to see a separation between the two, where it's just like, no, my romantic relationship stuff, it needs work, but love and the other stuff is like there's so much abundance of that. And I think and I hope more people can see it that way. And not to say that romantic relationships aren't needed. They're necessary and they're amazing. But yeah, there's love. There's love everywhere.
There is, yeah.
And you've done a great job, by the way. Leaning into your friendships and other areas of your life, even though you're happily in love. Yeah.
Okay.
I try.
I think I also agree with that, but it also, I was very much like you, where, oh, let me tell you my lesson with that. For me, it has been is that those connections in your life that have been stable all through, but you are always ignoring, that is probably where you need to put your effort in.
into,
And
yeah.
for me, it has always been family and some friends who we are like they're such good friends, but maybe I'm in a different headspace. I mean, maybe I'm in a toxic cycle of self because I'm dating this horrible person, and I cannot see the value that this friendship is bringing into my life. I don't know how to explain, but when you actually so where that comes from, there's this teacher that I think I've spoken to you about called Abraham Hicks.
Yes.
And they usually have people who come up with questions or problems, and Abraham tries to solve.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, I just want to be in a relationship. I want to be in love, da da da. And Abraham asked, so what is it that you want to feel when you're in a relationship? Love, connection, like I'm a part of something, or I have somebody who has my back. And they asked, so you can't feel that now at all? Can you feel excited? Yes. Can you feel looking forward to something? Yes. Can you feel like somebody has your back? Yes. Can you? But you just want it from packaged in this way. So all that to give this person an awareness that these things already exist around you. But for us, it's the work is to figure out how we can bring them into our lives. I can tell you for a fact I've never figured that out because I still have expectations or beliefs that romantic relationships will only provide me with a certain
There's like a something.
Yeah.
But there's these times when I'm with my family, which is not, and let me tell you, the older you get, you start, now for me, it has come with age. Because I take those relationships for granted. Yeah, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, cool. Like I've been with them all my life. I'm trying to get out of the house so that I can, get my freak on and get this romance that I saw on TV, which is a lie.
Yeah.
And then there's one time we were in Shags, and I remember I was in the kitchen. I think my folks were still asleep. So we have like 2-3 houses in Shags. My uncles have built all around, blah, blah, blah. But most people like hanging out in our house because that's where there's, there's fun, there's vibes. So I remember I was in the kitchen and I was like, okay, now I have to be careful. I have to have people eating breakfast. And then as I was just there thinking of what I need to do, my cousins just walked in with so much energy. Hey, where they are? And then there's one cousin I'd not seen for so long. I didn't even know he had arrived the night before we were asleep. And I remember just when I was feeding them in that moment, and I was in a lonely season at that time, a certain Christmas, like maybe 6 years ago. I remember just thinking, oh my God, like I'm not feeling like crap anymore. And I didn't feel like crap for the entire 3 days we were there because of these 1 or 2 cousins who just injected so much joy in my life. Of course, it was short-lived because I didn't know how to harness that thing and keep it. But I've never forgotten that moment. Like when I just turned around and I saw them and I cooking sausages. First of all, have you been? And I just felt like, because I was like, I just want to go back to Nairobi. I want to go meet this ain't nigga that I was dating, and but so I agree, but I want to put my perspective in that some of these things, the work is in trying to see how you can harness them and put in the work. Like now as an adult, I was an adult even though 6 years ago, but now I guess as a, I don't know, living by yourself, adult pro. You're like, by the way, what you get out of life is what you put in. What you get out of these relationships, especially the healthy ones, I think they are there, but we don't see them. If your need is really to be in a healthy relationship or have healthy connections, my life experience is showing me is that whatever you've asked for, you already kind of have. You just don't know how to get it. So my prayer nowadays is normally, please show me how to see. Show me how to see this and to accept that, you mean what I wanted is this here. Because I'm like, really?
That's something which has happened with me with the dynamic with my dad and my stepdad. I think it was 2 years ago where I was like, all I've been going on about is the difficulty of my dynamic with my dad. And I have had this amazing stepdad for then it was about 7 years. And never once did I mention the beauty of that relationship. And that pivoted everything. Now I'm far more intentional with nurturing this good relationship because what are you looking for? A father figure, you're looking for warmth, you're looking for all of this. And you've been getting this like fully from a stranger, really, but you weren't seeing it because you're like, no, God, no, here.
I want my
Here.
dad.
I want
This is what I want.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't work out that way, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that. We've got to be
Yeah.
more intentional in seeing it.
Yeah,
That was your
me
point,
too.
right?
Yeah.
It was hers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
Yours,
down
yeah.
to me? Alrighty. This was going to be my final one, but I'm just gonna say it now because
Yeah.
I wanted like to end with a drop mic. But it is what it is. Being single, it can suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can suck. And for me, in the past, it mostly sucked.
Yeah.
But so for me, that being alone, so it can suck. It is an opportunity. Accept that it can suck. I don't know why I wrote this sentence here, but I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that for people who are feeling like they can't handle it or that it's too much, I just want to validate those feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not just... And the reason as I've been asking the questions, I was asking Lydia specifically, is that I know you're in your joy stage,
Just
but
say,
are
yeah.
you able to speak of a time where you've been single and you're like, I hate this. I need somebody.
Yeah. I have never
want
been single
somebody
long enough
to
That's
feel
the
that.
thing.
To get to that point.
Yes, I feel like the longest time I've been like single has been like 3 months, 6 months. Like
No, that's not long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm actually there was a space between two relationships which was like maybe a year or so, but in those there was like someone who was keeping me company through this whole spread for about 6 months.
Yeah.
So I feel like 6 months or something without anyone at all.
Yeah.
That's the longest it's ever been. And
Yeah.
that's why I keep saying I acknowledge what time does to anything. So talk to me in 3 years if I'm still in this position. I'll be singing a very different tune. And I also do support that when somebody says that they want to be in a relationship, stop telling them to love themselves.
I
That
agree.
like that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that they don't love themselves. It's a human need to crave companionship. It's like part of who we are as human beings.
Yeah.
I just have never given myself enough time where it got to, oh no, like this is scary.
Yeah,
Like, you
and
know.
at that time, I think the tools exist.
Yeah.
These things of those connections that we desire, the feelings that of the need to feel like connected, they exist.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it has been designed that way.
Yeah.
By God or whoever is out there. Usually at that point, that is the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's at that dark hour.
Yeah.
It's not when things are good that you're
Yeah.
like, let me figure out how I can be happy alone. No, because you're happy already. It's usually at that point when you're
When it
down
sucks,
and you're
yeah.
like, it sucks. That's the opportunity. But again, it's a thin line. It is a thin line because that's the time you'll end up going for the guy who you never even ever give a second look because you know he's a horrible person
Yeah.
or he's an abusive person, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, there are people you're just like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
But you were so long gone,
Yeah.
so far gone from yourself that you could not come to yourself, that part of you that says no. It's until now when things go to the dumps that you're like, what the hell was I doing? So I just wanted to acknowledge that, yes, it can suck.
Yeah.
But that is the opportunity
Yeah.
because me, I remember that time. Now this goes to my other point. Mine are like merging. Loneliness is an opportunity. Being single is an opportunity. Feeling like you want to somebody and you're struggling in singleness is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I went nika yo-yo. I get into this one, it doesn't work. Then I get to the next one to forget the next one.
Yeah.
Then now I take a bit of space. Then I'm like, but then there's this one who was hollering at me. Maybe
Yeah.
let me try because
Yeah.
I could not handle being by myself. And you know, I'm a huge romantic. Like I thought the joy in my life can only be completed when I'm with somebody.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I'm like, okay, for real, I know I'm dating assholes because I was attracted to a lot of like, let me just say avoidance. So
Yeah.
they are not the individuals for me. But I was like, let's call a spade a spade. I am the recurring factor here.
Yeah.
So there's something that I'm attracted to, not necessarily attracting. I know we attract. I am with it, but I'm saying there's something I'm attracted to. There are elements of people or in people I'm attracted to and I can see them as this thing we are saying is the same theme in each individual. That is, I was able to see there's a dysfunctional trait that I tend to like. You know, the moody, the gropey, the sad, the kind of very creative but troubled soul. I really liked people like that. I'm like, don't come to me like fully packaged and happy.
Yeah.
That's
Ew.
so gross.
Yeah.
It actually used to give me the ick. I'm like, yeah, hi friend. We can be, hi
Yeah.
buddy. Do
Yeah.
you know how long it took for me to come around and be like, oh my gosh, now these people are attractive to me who I could not find attractive, because I realized I was the issue. I mean, what my issue was what I was attracted to. So now I use that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
I had no choice other than to work on myself, because it was either that or I
going
lose
back.
myself.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
keep being
Doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. I had
Yeah.
no choice. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And that's the year I remember saying I'm making an intention of not dating. No, because I would date you and I'm talking to you and I'm having, you know, I liked just having a lot of options until
yeah.
I found somebody, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. Done. And I told myself 3 months.
Yeah.
And then at the end of month 3, I came to realize I was at the end of month 4. That's how good a time I was having. And it went from 4 months to 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But that was only because I was being intentional. And I'll be honest, there was no happy ending, because at the end of that, I found myself with somebody who I thought was healthy.
Yeah.
I was not able to, I had still not figured out how to recognize healthy.
Right.
They presented healthy. They
Right.
looked well put together in comparison to my exes. I was like, yeah, this is what I've been praying for. This is it.
Yeah.
And I got into it. And I found myself in the same situation. Only this time, it's like I had a higher sense of recognition. Whereas before,
Yeah.
I would not see.
Yeah.
I'd see by the time I'm crying on the floor, that's when I'm like, oh. But now I was just like, what? So I could hear the alarms from, like I was able to recognize that I was in a bad situation much earlier. I would say that was my greatest benefit. And to show, then to see that I could be by myself.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just also, so it can suck, and also you can put in the work. It doesn't mean there'll be a white light at the end. Like you might end up needing to do more work and do more work and do more work. Yeah.
And funny enough, you know, when like my story or my intention with this intentional time alone is so that I am able, of all the things we've said, you know, learning to be alone, being able to be accountable of my story, being able to equipping myself with the emotional set skill to be able to identify who has the desire and capacity to offer me the kind of love and relationship I'm looking for. Like all of these things I'm making up as I go because it's life. Like I think singleness is what's going to help me do this. Who says it is? Some people, there's actually a friend who told me they were in a relationship, they broke up Tuesday, she was on a date on Friday, and that is her current husband, and they have a beautiful family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then there's some people who are, I saw this woman on TikTok, and she had done this beautiful TikTok about waiting for love after 5 years. Nobody actually knows what is going to work. We are all figuring it out based on the knowledge that we have and what we think is going to work. Because it might not work, as you said. Yours wasn't like a year of singleness and then happily ever after. But maybe it was like the next thing that you needed for your healing. It was like a step.
That is it.
Yeah.
For me, it was a step. And I'm so happy I took that time.
Yeah, that time.
I took that time. And in that time, I did not feel scared of being alone.
For years.
Because I had I think we usually need a
goal.
target. I need a time cap. I'm like 3 months. I can't be like, we're open-ended and whatever the universe, I'll be like, the universe, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I know, if I just leave it.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to a year, I said, I need to get me some in a year.
Okay, fair enough.
But then I jumped into a situation that I thought was healthy.
Yeah.
But it was not. It was not. And I honestly did not see it.
Yeah.
But now when I was able to get out of it, and I didn't go through like it was different. It's like it
wasn't as chaotic.
It was not chaotic. In fact, it was very like we sat down and I'm like, listen, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
That is the person I always thought I was and the way I wanted my breakups to be, but they'd always end up with no texting, no replying.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
This was the first healthy like uncoupling that I had, and I can only attribute it to that
The time you're
to
taking.
that time alone where I
Yeah.
was like, I cannot believe it has been for me to be single for an extra month and I've not counted.
Yeah.
Me, that Julia in her whatever age that was 27, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
28, whatever that
Yeah.
age was.
So all that to say is that like you can do your singlehood however you want. It doesn't mean that if you don't spend time alone, then it's for you to judge. Are you jumping from relationship to relationship because you don't feel good enough being alone? That's for your judgment, not anybody else's. I also saw this beautiful video by this woman on TikTok, and she was like, what if you don't find someone?
Yeah.
What if this is it? What if this is it? What if you literally go the rest of your life without someone? What kind of life do you want to create? And part of my time being single is like creating a beautiful life for myself. Because what if this is it? You're just
Would
going...
you be okay if that was...
Of course I wouldn't.
Okay. I'm just like,
No.
that is a next level elevation.
Not at all. I wouldn't be good. I would not be happy at all. But it's like, if that's not the case, what kind of life do you have?
Right.
What kind of life do you have right now? Because the assumption that you're only single right now in this moment and taking care of yourself this way in hope someone else will come. What if they don't? And I pride myself in looking around and being like, number one, I own my life. I'm not in any circumstances. I'm just like, oh no, how did I get here? No. I can see how.
Yeah.
And two, having a life that you just like.
Yeah.
You want to be in a life that you like. You want to be in a home that you love. You want to have friends who you admire and you respect. So there's this bit of singlehood that's always seen like a stepping stone. But is it?
Yeah.
Is it? And how long would this stepping stone be carrying on? So the job is to assume that this is your life and you're creating it to be beautiful for your own sake anyway. Not so you attract a great person, but just so that you're happy in your life.
Yeah.
That's a big part as well.
Yeah.
So it could end up great, it could end up not so great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for now, you just have to focus on what. Listen, I feel like it sounds like you're both religious, which I appreciate. I am in and out on that, but I do believe this: when you're in a position or in a situation or circumstance that you have no control over. Like you cannot decide. I would love to be married with kids and the thing that I envisioned as a teenager or what 35 would look like. I don't have that, but I cannot control that. I cannot force this person to come into my life because I'm ready. There are things you actually have to live. You know what I mean?
Radical acceptance
You
and
have to
surrender.
have radical acceptance because yes, you can say by this year I'll be married, sure.
Yeah.
But you really are not in control of that because you're not in control of who you meet, where they are in their life when you meet them, and how you're able to accept and receive that.
Yeah.
So when things like that happen, I always say when you're in a circumstance where, like, let's say you get fired, it's not in your control. You're still single, it's not in your control. Maybe you have a chronic disease, it's not in your control. I always say those are opportunities for something else.
Yeah.
It's always a bitter pill to swallow for me.
Yeah.
But it has been the case. And I was only able to enjoy my singlehood. And I mean, Lydia, we talked about this. I'm talking enjoyment. Yani, I'm happy and single. Not I'm working on being happy and single. Or
You're
I'm saying,
genuinely
I was
happy.
even like, happy when somebody tried to come with me. I'm like, please, you're disrupting my joy.
peace, yeah.
You know, I
Euphoria
was
with
like,
being
no,
yourself.
please, I'm not ready. That only came when I was like, I had to have such a genuine acceptance of where I was and say, I have to enjoy this.
That's what my therapist said.
'cause I was
Radical
like,
acceptance and surrender.
I have no control over this.
Yeah.
So I have to bloody find a way
Yeah.
to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found a way.
I love that because I
Yeah.
actually had written a point.
Yeah.
I know it's your turn, Lydia. I
Okay.
won't speak much on
jump in,
it.
jump in.
No, but it just said surrender, control, and rest.
Yeah.
Because I think I was so hell-bent on being in control of this situation.
Yeah.
And when I just decided to rest and just leave it, then, I just found myself in this situation, right? So, but when I was just like, I want to be married at this point, I want to have babies at this point, I want to do this, I want to do that. It was even taking away, like you were saying, the joy of enjoying the moment that you're in. And I think that, yes, singleness sucks. And what, for me, adds to it sucking is everyone around you expecting that because you're a woman at a certain age, you shouldn't be single. And
Of course, that adds to it,
and that there's something wrong with you, that it gets to a point where even you start believing it.
Yeah, you're like, I girl like you. But hujapata mtu, kuna
literally,
shida.
all the conversations when you go to family things, when you go where, it's like, oh, bado hujapata mtu, oh, rorasho lini, oh, when should we expect this? When should we expect that? So because I wanted to just like control the situation and just get myself out of the singleness, I wasn't resting. And when I was just like, you know what, I don't even know who I'm going to end up with. I don't even know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Like, let me just rest and just keep doing me. And I am sure that I'm going to quote the Bible, that there's a scripture that says that God has plans to prosper us, give us a hope and give us a future. He knows the end. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know what I'm going to eat tomorrow, right? So I'm just like, if God has told me he has plans to prosper me, give me a hope and give me a future, why do I think that children and marriage are not in that equation for him? Why do I have to be the one who is chasing this thing? Why can't I not rest and leave it to him to do his thing? So that's when I rested and I was like, you know what? God, you just do your thing. I'm just going to be here, chilling, enjoying myself, nurturing my friendships.
The life you're giving me.
Enjoying the life that I currently have.
Your life,
loving my life. And when it happens, it happens.
And boom.
And maybe also accepting that perhaps those things that you want, you might find so much joy in other things. It's not in the way you thought. Maybe not kids right now. Maybe later. Or you might end up finding yourself in a... Girl, you can find yourself in a position that you never thought that this is where... The thing that I wanted, I'm finding it here? Okay. You think I thought I'd be a content creator? Content creator. Hey, I had very different dreams for myself.
And
where I'm at right now, Lydia, is not where I thought I would be.
It wasn't part of the plan.
Not part of the plan. And I'm okay with where I'm at. I posted something on my IG some months back. What was the caption? Are you where you thought you would be? Oh, I think I just said something like, this is where I thought I would be 10 years ago. Respond. I had such mixed responses. Many people were like, they are far from where they thought they would be. Others are like, they are exactly where they thought they'd be and they are so grateful. And then there are others who are just like, the opposite of everything I've said. So it was actually, because I thought everyone is not where they thought they'd be. I thought life is constantly throwing you curveballs. But to see other people being exactly where they want to be, other people are saying, I'm even better
than I thought.
Than I ever thought. Others are like, I'm in the worst place. It's like, it just shows you how dynamic life is.
And sometimes when we look at our life in this one bigness, it's easy to say, I'm not where I thought I would be, like all round, right? So for example, at 32, I would never have dreamt for myself that I would be single. Not even like you're in a relationship, you just haven't got single. I would never have dreamt that for myself. I would never have wanted that for myself ever. Number one, because of the conditioning that we have about women who are in their 30s, not married yet, all of that, right? But I also would never have thought I had the kind of rich life that I have now. That 15-year-old who was dreaming, didn't know about paying bills, didn't know the sacrifices that it takes, didn't know relationship dynamics. They were just dreaming. But the fact that despite not in this one area, not being where I wanted to be, so many other areas, I am far better than I thought I would be. I've always dreamt about having freedom of my time in my life. And when I was in school, I studied to be a lawyer. So the 15-year-old Lydia, 18-year-old Lydia, 21-year-old Lydia, 23-year-old Lydia doing her master's to do law, she could never have dreamt that I make the living that I do living this kind of life. So sometimes you don't want to look at your life in just this one big, break them down and see that there are some places where you've actually done way better. Or maybe it's even in how much you love yourself. That's an area. Maybe when you're an insecure 18-year-old, you would never have imagined that you could be happy and love yourself. That was something you did up over and above. So I've stopped seeing my life in this kind of one big bulk. And when I break them down, I'm just like, do you know what? Majority of it, we are acing it. I have incredible friends. My family is good. My self-development is great. But this one area we haven't figured out yet. But that's okay. Fine, we'll figure it out. So yeah, I love the way you've articulated that.
Okay.
My
I think
next
we're
point.
doing last point.
Is this the last point?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But you said yours. I mean, you have another one.
I'll check.
Okay.
A lot of things when you learn when you're single seem to be like all of these like hard lessons, like, you know, one of mine being wherever you go, there you are. So if you keep running from yourself, it's pointless because everyone's reflecting like a mirror back to you. But there are some things in my singlehood that I've learned about myself that are good, that are actually good. One of the things I've learned about myself is that despite, as I've said, that there's a part of my life that I would never have chosen for myself when I was dreaming or creating my life, other things, number one, are great. And despite all of the insecurities, all of these things that we are talking about, like maybe being in situations that you weren't happy about, attracting people who are horrible to you, I'm here. Because there's many people through life where those things have derailed them in far worse situations. And when I look back, I'm just like, so I was in this horrible relationship. And despite that horrible relationship, I was going to work. I was doing this. I kept my friendships. I kept my friends. I kept all of these things. In my singlehood, I've been able to see my resilience. I've been able to see my power over my life. I've been able to see these magical parts of my life that maybe I would never have seen it, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship, the relationship is basically it. If you and your boyfriend are fighting, your life is horrible. You don't see things from any other lens.
Yeah.
But when you're single, you can see things like that. Like, how's family doing? How's friends doing? You're able to separate things a bit more. So even though you want to learn through your singlehood some of the things you need to work on, please also make a list of all the things you've been able to do right, all of the things that are going right in your life, because we are not just a work in progress. Some things we've figured out. Like, I'm not a people pleaser anymore, for sure. That one I figured out. Check the other things that you figured out, because it's not just about the things you're working on. So that's something for sure I've been selecting and working, and I've seen through my single life. Yeah.
Great. Mine.
Would you be okay being single again, like for long?
For long.
Hey.
I mean, Sharon,
you've
as
listened
of
to this.
today,
You've listened to this podcast. You're like, yeah, you know, I got this.
no, I know it's definitely going to suck.
Yeah.
I think if this relationship was to end, and I've even said this in an episode I did with him, and I keep saying this to everyone, that even if we don't end up in marriage and children and all of that, this relationship has shown me that I am worthy of receiving the love that I've always wanted. It's done a lot of it's done a lot of healing.
Good relationships do that.
It's done a lot of healing within me, and I am honored to have been loved by him, even if we don't end up married.
Yeah.
So I think it would suck, and I'm sure that I would really, really go through it. But I think, I'd be like, okay, God, cool. Like, redirection, sour, let's figure it out. Yeah.
I won't even be okay if like I won't be okay if I'm single at the end of this year.
You won't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's
Like,
I love the honesty there.
yeah, it's true. I won't. It's like I'm single for this time, and like, but when I want to get back into it, I want to have the opportunity to connect with other people, not necessarily finding the one by the end of this year, but being in a situation where it's just like, okay, I'm dating, or this person is good company or whatever. Yeah, this is only for a bit.
This is only for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So my last secret, because this is secrets, best kept secrets that we have learned. Which one is it? It's that relationships, marriage, and children are distracting. Let me explain.
I agree.
Facts.
You don't need to explain.
Because I think when I was single, at least in the beginning, I think at some point I caught myself in it. But in the beginning, when it sucked, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to get into a new relationship, blah, 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 all of these things, right? And then now that I'm in a relationship, I'm like, wow, I'm very distracted, because I also thrive in being alone.
Yes.
And I think I do really well productively productivity wise and all of that when I am alone. So I think instead of chasing the next thing, if you actually take the time to be like, okay, so what does this season of singleness mean for me? What am I supposed to achieve in this season of singleness? Maybe God has intended for you to be single so you can start a business, so you can reconnect with family that you had disconnected from, so that you can nurture your friendships because they were in the gutter, so you can maybe even nurture your relationship with him. I think one of the biggest things that I was very kind of happened by accident, but then I started becoming intentional about it, was nurturing my relationship with God when I became single, because that's when I joined a Bible study. And now, because I have no one to distract me and no one to like go on date nights with and spend my time with, I was alone every night. So for 5 days a week, I would have Bible study. And that meant that I grew so much spiritually. I was spending time in prayer. I was doing all of these things, which ideally I would not have had the time to do when I was in a relationship. So instead of chasing the next thing, focus on, okay, so what am I supposed to be doing in this season? What am I supposed to be learning in this season? What is the intention for me to be in this space that I am currently in? And then do those things. So I nurtured my relationship with God. I nurtured my relationship with my friends, and we became like so much closer. I was also like super focused on my business, my content creation. I was just like, you know what? I know that this is not going to last forever. I know that it's a season, and as I am in this season, I am going to make the best out of it. So so before the babies come, before marriage comes, before a partner comes, that time that you're alone and you're just not distracted at all, do those things for yourself.
They are so distracting. There's so many even opportunities that you might not be able to take because of family and all of these things. I heard this girl say that anytime she's trying to attract something towards her, she says, I always hear girls saying things on Instagram and TikTok.
Send me all these TikToks,
right?
Lydia.
Yeah, like I watched a video.
You've referenced like 5 different TikToks.
So many.
Listen,
okay, fine.
These
are the kind of things I say.
Listen, this is my love language.
Yeah?
My love language is when people sending me
Send you
videos.
things.
Really?
So please send me
I'll be
videos.
sending you.
Yeah.
And she was basically saying that when she wants to attract something towards herself, she gives herself a time limit. So for example, let's say I'm single now and she says, hey, now that since I'm meeting the love of my life in August, hey, what can I do with this time? Because when you say, I only have 2 months, and if I'm meeting the love of my life, this is the person I'm having kids with. So if the only month I have to myself for the rest of my life, because after motherhood, that's it, it's only 2 months. What would you do with this 2 months? You would enjoy being in a bed on your own. You would enjoy
Starfish sleeping.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
right?
people want to sleep with somebody, but like
They
after some
sleep
time, you're
alone.
like, the
Honestly.
bed is hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And cuddling is also like impractical for like a full 8 hour of rest.
You can't.
For deep sleep.
Definitely no.
Especially imagine in January heat and then mosquitoes.
Yeah. So if you think
can't.
about it, like the time now is it's not running out, like, don't be in haste, but knowing that it could come to an end. What do you want to do with it? And so that's actually what I've been telling myself.
Yeah.
And I actually was like, okay, if I'm going to meet the love of my life next year, so I just have this year to lie down and just spread myself in. Then do it. Like enjoy that time for sure.
Yeah,
That
for
can
sure.
work for me because I like to work with the deadline.
deadline.
Yeah.
Do you know
Like
I'm here for that.
If you give me an open-ended thing, it'll last for a day. I'll be like, sure.
Yeah.
But
a
like for me,
timeline.
I feel like I usually have a very maybe negative way of thinking of things, is that where I'm at now is how it's going to be forever and ever and ever. Like I don't know if it's maybe because I do have a bit of anxiety disorder going on. So I'm always like, this is it.
Yeah.
I actually have to talk myself off the ledge with certain things and understand this thing of seasons. My mom is so big on that because I talk to her about these things and she's always telling me, Sarah, life is seasons. Life is seasons. Now you're in the season of sowing. One time you'll be in the season of reaping or harvesting. Another you're in a season of drought.
It's true.
Another you're in a season of, so nothing sticks and nothing stays. But what stays is you.
Yeah.
So are you going to carry the same person from this season to the next season?
Yeah.
No, you must evolve and grow. And change is hard.
Yeah.
Growth is painful.
Actually, it's horrible.
It's
I'll go as far as saying
Yeah.
it's horrible.
For somebody to be like, oh my gosh, like when you said introduce me, Julia, as a wealth of knowledge, I'm like, am I? But then I'm thinking,
You are.
do you know what? I only know this because of the crap I've been through. I'm trying not to say SHF words on this podcast. Because I'm like, I only know this because of what I've been through. I can only talk about
Out of experience.
relationships because I have experienced healthy love and very unhealthy love in the extremities.
Yeah.
Okay? If it was not for that, So This Is Love, which is that podcast that I have, would not exist.
Yeah.
Over 25 would not exist. This identity that I have as Jules online, as a public whatever, would not exist had I not been through all this stuff I went through between the ages of, I would say, 24 to 32.
Yeah.
That's almost 10 years. Yeah, like that, and it was like never ending, to the point where you're like,
Enough.
not enough. I'm like, what do you want me to learn? Because I cannot run away from it.
Because you're avoiding. It's like you've been avoiding it. Here it is.
Yeah, avoiding and feeling it in with people, experiences. I'm going to go here. I cannot even sit alone. I have to be around people. Like, I'm an extrovert because and it's like, sis,
Yeah.
you need to chill. You actually need to look within
Yeah.
and figure your shit out. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. So that opportunity you were talking about, or rather saying that, like, this is your chance maybe to start that business or to do that. Please, I would say lean into that.
Lean into.
Find a way. My point, which I didn't say, is that you must, with capital MUST, you must figure out how to be content while alone.
Yeah.
Because even if you jump into a marriage or you jump into let me have a baby, that thing, that lesson you've never learned will come back.
Yeah,
Itarudi
it's true.
too.
Yeah.
So the way I see the universe working for me is that when these things happen and they are beyond your control, those are opportunities.
Yeah, do what you can.
And the work is trying to figure out how is this thing that is negative an opportunity for learning for me. But it always is. You cannot learn when you're how can you enjoy food when you're full? It's when you're hungry, and hungry is painful. Hunger is painful. It's when you're hungry, when you're like, hey, that's the first bite you eat, you're like, But then if you're full, and then you're being given another piece of meat and another piece of meat, and you just be like, enough.
It's too much.
So imagine that it's like life is just, I don't know why it was designed this way, but it's been designed
dance,
this way.
yeah.
It's a dance, it's a tightrope, it's a
Ebb and flow. That's
ebb
my
and
new thing.
flow,
Ebb
right?
and flow.
Yeah.
So when I'm ebbing, I accept that I'm ebbing.
What's
and
ebbing? What is
like
that?
it's just like ebb and flow. It's like the
curve.
waves. Like they
Yeah.
come in, then they come out, whatever. So for me, I define ebbing as like the hard times.
Yeah.
Like I'll just call myself, be like, girl, I am ebbing. And it's just so that I can accept that it's just now.
Yeah.
That means that this is the ebbing season. Then there's the flowing season. Even like in my single season, maybe I'm in the flow. Maybe the ebb is going to come, and then we'll deal with it when it comes.
And most of the time it's not linear.
Yeah.
You can be going through two things in one
It's
part
not.
in your life. You're
It's
really growing.
amazing.
And
that's
this is
what
it.
exactly what happened to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
In one part of your life, you are thriving.
Yeah.
And in one part of your life, it is not.
Yeah.
But and I don't think everything can go to SHIT at the same time. I know it's like children
Fingers
are not
crossed.
watching. But
Sometimes
anyway,
when it rains, it does pour.
It does
Yeah.
pour. No,
Yeah.
but even when it pours, Lydia,
There's something.
I think there's still 7 things can be going wrong, but 3 can be going right. And in those 3, we talked about, and I need to wrap up, but we talked about, there's something you mentioned about gratitude or seeing the things that are working out.
Yeah, counting the things that are going great.
I've read all those books, okay? I've attended the seminars and I've gotten the certificates.
Yeah.
But qua ground, I'll just be like, okay, I'm
And
grateful for
that's
life.
why-
Hang on.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for my mother. I'm grateful. And I'd be like bored about doing it because the gratitude thing for me, I was doing it so that I get the benefit of gratitude, which is the more things of the things that I want to come into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was really not I was not able. I was trying to embody Lydia nikashindwa. Then my therapist one day told me, one of the things you want to learn is emotional regulation. Start doing check-ins with yourself 3 times a day. And I was like, what? I'm like, but what if I'm shooting? Like, what if I'm recording? You had my alarm ring. that was a check-in. Actually, even when I was in your house, you had my alarm ring. That was a check-in. And I resisted it because I resisted it until I stopped. And crazy thing, now I'm able to have gratitude and write my gratitude lists and actually be embedded in that.
Yeah.
And the check-ins basically is to ask yourself, Julia, what are you feeling? I am feeling, let's do a positive or we do a negative cells. I'm feeling anxious. Where are you feeling it? I started to realize my negative feelings, I feel them here. Or my anxious feelings, I feel it in the middle of my chest.
Well,
I don't feel it in my stomach. Other people, I was
stomach and here.
I was talking to Georgie Dirang the other day. We were having this discussion. He said he feels his at the pit of his stomach.
Yeah,
I
me
feel mine
too.
here in my chest.
Yeah.
And then feelings like enragement and anger and agitation, I feel them in my head.
Me, I feel my back.
Ajia.
Yeah.
So
Tightness.
tightness. So I feel the tension in my head. So where in your body do you feel it? That's the second question. And then what do you need?
Yeah.
And those are now how you learn how to soothe. You do that for positive and negative. Now, I started doing the check-ins, of course, begrudgingly, because I'm like, this is one of those, write out 5 things you appreciate every day and see the magic that happens in your life, sure. And then I started to do the check-ins and I was like, even if I'm in the middle of something, I'm going to do a check-in.
Yeah.
Because if I need to pee, even if I'm in the middle of something, I'll be like, excuse me, I need to go pee. So I'm going to give this the intentionality it needs.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing every time I check in, I'm like, I'm good. I'm content. I'm happy. But I would have never had said that I am good. If somebody, when I'm journaling, I'll be like, well, I'm good, but I just wish I had this more. Or I wish I had done this. So now the more check-ins I started doing, I remember the next time I went for my session, I was like, do you know what, Doc? I think my life is actually pretty good.
When you separate them, the sections, it's easier. It's easier
because
to see.
you're able to now see the 3 things that are working out in your life
Yeah.
are actually 7. If life was 10 things, it's actually 7. But we look at the 3, and I swear to you, humans, I don't know why our brains are wired this way, but that's the thing that you're like, that's the thing you found. That's the thing that is taking the biggest space in your sitting room.
Yeah.
Yet the issue in your life is maybe just this thing. But then
We
you
have a
think it's the whole
negative.
couch.
We have a negative bias because in times we needed to survive. So you are looking for the danger
To protect
yourself. But since now we are not there, we still have that negative biase. So you get 100,000 amazing comments. One bad one.
Thank
That's
you.
the one you
Thank
focus
you.
on. We have
That's
it.
me.
So we have to. Sometimes I even you. Anyway, so we have to even look. You have to kind of intentionally work against that bias. What I wanted to say is that since I've been single, number one, people feel like it's as if like now this is when I've started with my self-love. I've always had it. I just have more time. That's it.
Yeah.
That was just falling onto your point. I have more time. So the time where I'll be spending with my boyfriend, what am I doing? I'm by myself. The time where I would have been like, I don't know, doing many things, it's like now I just have more time, so it just looks like a bit more amplified. I am also not trying to tell you to leave your boyfriend or to be single with
Is
me.
that what people are saying?
Everything's misconstrued by those who are not intentional about actually seeing what's
And
happening.
you're not in the place to receive.
Yeah,
what you're saying. You're just not in the same.
Really, that's not
energy.
it. I feel like I am a lover of love. When I was in a relationship, did I not bore all of you on Instagram?
You just remind me
I
of somebody who, where you are in life, you
Is
enter.
we are going
I'm
to
in
enter.
a relationship, I'm in it, full throttle. I am single, I'm going to learn how to do this well, I'm full throttle. And that's how what you represent to me.
That's what
it's
I'm always
very
going
admirable.
to do. Yeah,
and
it's
I've
what I'm gonna
always
do.
told you, I'm like, how can you be so sure that it's going to work out?
It
And
just
you
is.
always ask me, Kwani Jules, why are you so pessimistic? And I realize how pessimistic I am when I started hanging out with you, because I realized Lydia she gets into it and she's like, yeah, it might not be for everybody, but it's for me and I'm doing it. And I woke up and I did this and I what. And I'm like, you really have faith in this your process.
I do.
Me, I'm always like, when is the shoe going to drop? And now that's what I'm trying to F my brain.
Yeah.
Because I realized the traumas I had in my past completely screwed me over, that even when the good things were happening, I'm like,
Trauma robs you of imagination. So the more healing you do, the more you're able to imagine different possibility than where you are in that moment. Funny enough, there's something you actually just said that reminded me of something I wanted to say. No one knows how it felt when I was in love, and no one knows how it felt when I was going through a heartbreak. we've all been there, but you don't know how I felt. You also don't know where I'm going. You don't know the kind of relationship that I want. You don't know what keeps me up at night. You don't know my fears, my insecurities. So my process, you don't have to get either. And I think that's with everyone's single season. I don't know what you want out of your relationship, even though we say we all want the same things, but I don't know how you want them. So the process to a destination only you can see is only for you to see. So I'm not saying, as I said, that this is the process that's going to get me what I want, but this is what I think. And so I'm trying it with life. And so if you feel like you don't want to do it, you shouldn't do it. You should try it a completely different way. And I don't think this is a everyone should be single episode. This is a when you're single, if you find yourself to be single, this is what you can do to make the season a bit more intentional.
Yeah, I agree. And that doesn't also mean that you can't start businesses when you're married or when you have kids, you can do all of those things. Like Lydia is saying, this is just an episode for if you're single, or if you if you find yourself in a situation where you're single. These are the tools, these are the things we've learned, these are our best kept secrets that we're sharing with you, and we hope that at least one thing has resonated with you. You're going to apply it. So I think that's it for this episode. Do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, I love it here.
I
love it here.
When she told me she's going to have you
me
on.
Me too.
Yeah, Jules was like, if
Jules,
Lydia is there,
I was like, I'm not really doing interviews. Yeah, no, Lydia. I said, Lydia, I'm coming.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
If Lydia is there, I'm there. Yeah.
Rich conversations. And I love being around women who are able to have these kind of vulnerable conversations. Both of you, you challenge my vulnerability. And I like being in those kind of spaces where it's like, I can feel like my energy just opening up because there's more room to go. What I would say is that there's beauty in every season. And like Jules said, it's for you to find it. And it's not finding it just anyhow. It's intentionally finding it. And when you look back, once you do have your screaming kids, one is on top of your head, the other one is here. The husband one is saying, what did you do with your single season?
Yes.
You want to say, write the beautiful single story.
I've found something I want to say. You know what you've said to me? Like I used to, when I was single, of course, when I was single and unhappy, I was so envious of my cousins who had healthy relationships. Even maybe my friends not so much, because I feel like I was part of their relationships. Shiko and Shiva was also the third. I was there. I was within. And I don't mean that literally. Y'all just need to chill out. Y'all need to chill. That's like my brother. But now I moved out, right? I got my own place, and I've been there for almost 2 years now. And is it 3? I don't even know. And then now these people who I used to be so like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. When you left home, you entered a marriage. Me, that was my goal. I'm like, I'm leaving my home. I would love to.
Yeah, when I'm getting married.
All of them, literally, my cousins, one by one, each, even my friends, even Lorna, the other day, she was in my house. She's like, you know what? I wish I had this before I got married. I wish I had this space, my own space and my own. And I'm like, wow, I was feeling insecure because all my friends are married with kids, and so are my cousins. And they come to my house, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I had this season. I had this, and let me tell you, the way I'm hearing it and hearing it loud and clear.
All the time now.
Yes.
All the time
and now
now.
I'm just like, what? I'm sitting in this house. I am... The stain on this carpet is because I poured soda, not because this child... it is me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The reason there's dishes in the sink is because I have not cleaned them. And I can choose not to. And they'll stay there till Monday, and I have no pressure. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can have... when my nieces and nephews visit, it's like, oh my God, can we remove this? Can we proof this? Can we? I'm like, I can do anything I want with my space. It's the only thing that's teaching me that I need to chill out on the desire to have family and kids is the pets that I have, because just to put a joke in there, like I literally have to hide things when Shadow is visiting. Shadow is my black cat, because he's the one who's the tyrant. And I'm like, I cannot imagine having this 24/7.
Yeah, I don't even have a pet.
You don't even have a pet, So you see, you're here wishing, I wish. So there's somebody else.
I just want a day alone.
I just want to be alone, So accept, and your radical acceptance. That is the number one skill. I feel like when you're
Radical
single,
acceptance.
radical
Yeah.
acceptance
My
and
therapist said
figuring
that.
out, radical acceptance is something that some random doctor who I kept on, anyway, radical acceptance and figuring out self-worth. Because once you have that, you know your value, you know your worth, and you feel a sort of what's the word when you're just at peace, not complacent,
Ease?
content.
Oh,
Content.
When you have
Yeah.
a contentness within yourself, and I don't even necessarily mean within being single, just I'm content.
As
I
a
don't need
person,
to. I don't
yeah.
have to be like I
About.
need to be this slim. Or I need to be this kind of personality trait. You're just like that car. Nico, I'm just Nico too sour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you top that up with radical acceptance. Nobody can stop you in this your life. Nobody.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Yeah.
I think for me, my closing remark would be that there's beauty in seasons, and once you understand, and I've shared this in another episode in the last season, that once you understand the concept of seasons, then you will navigate through life better.
Yeah.
If you understand that this is the season that I am in and this is what I am doing in this season, then it helps you even go through it with intention.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Just share with us whatever lessons you have learned
Yeah.
in the comments, so we can also learn from each other. And if you're listening to us on our podcast platforms, thank you for listening and tuning in. I will see you guys, or you will hear me in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.